2017 candidate debate for the Anoka-Hennepin School Board in District 4. I'm glad to be joined by the candidates running for this seat. It's an open seat with no incumbent running, so we're going to get to know about both of our candidates tonight through a debate. We're going to start with our opening statements, then we'll move into our question and answer segment, then we'll finish our debate tonight with closing statements from the candidates. Well, let's get right to it and meet the candidates. Brian Herda, you are in seat number 1, so you're going to be up first with your opening statement.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Brian Herda, and I'm running for 3 primary reasons. First, it's an academic focus, so our students are prepared for either a 4-year college, a technical post-secondary technical college, or a trade. I have experience with the district, as both of my boys have gone through and graduated from Andover High School. Secondly, I support the current school board position on regarding the transgender students. This is a pro-privacy policy that respects all students' privacy. Lastly, I have 28 years of experience in the accounting and finance fields, and I'll use these skills to help maximize the efficient use of taxpayer dollars. I've been involved in the community for over 20 years, and both as a school volunteer and through Andover sporting organizations. I volunteer on a monthly basis at Eagle Brook Church in Anoka. I continue to stay busy as a football referee and volunteer as junior achievement through my employer.
Thank you for your opening statement. Anna Dirkswager, we'll move over to you now with your opening statement.
Great, thanks. Hi, I'm Anna Dirkswager. I'm running for the Anoka-Hennepin School Board. I'm running because I'm a strong believer in the importance of public education. I come from a family of teachers, and I believe I am where I am today because of the public education I received. I know that our public schools are critical to building strong individuals and communities. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and as we get our 5-year-old ready for kindergarten next year, I decided the best way to be involved in her public education was not to leave the decisions up to somebody else, but to run and get elected myself. I have 9 years of experience working with the Minnesota State Legislature, which is important because that's 70% of the Anoka-Hennepin budget. I have an analytical background with a Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Biology and a Master's with a focus in Natural Resource Economics. I've worked for the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. I've experienced managing large public budgets, and mostly I'm a parent with 2 girls that are going to be in this district for the next 15 to 20 years.
Thank you. Thank you both for your opening statements. We're going to move in now to our question and answer segment. Anna, you'll be first to answer the first question tonight. And I just want to know from both of you, especially because you're not on the school board currently, what do you believe is the primary role of a school board member? You're up first, Anna.
That's a great question. I don't think that it's just one role. I see that responsibility as an important one. I believe it's being an advocate and a voice for teachers. I believe that you are tasked with the responsibility in making sure that every single child in the district is set up for success. I believe that you have responsibility to taxpayers in the district to show accountability and success for the dollars that we spend. And at the end of the day, you need to do that within changing environments and changing goals with the legislature and still make those 3 things work.
Thank you for your answer. Brian, same question to you now. What do you believe is the primary role of a school board member?
Yeah, it's to provide oversight and guidance and direction for the schools and the teachers. I would focus on providing a solid academic core, as I mentioned, make sure that we have strong curriculums, things of that nature, to make sure our teachers are supported, whether it's through additional training or things of that nature. So it's an important role in that it's a role where you look to give back and try to invest your time and provide as much oversight and guidance and direction as you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
After every question, I'm going to offer opportunity for rebuttal time. It's your choice if you choose to use it or not. Anna, you'd be up first if you want 15 seconds.
I guess I'd just say that I believe it's stronger than oversight. I think as a school board member, you have a responsibility for leadership, and especially for a school district that's as large as Anoka-Hennepin is, I believe that we have a responsibility to lead the state in academics and how we treat our teachers.
Thank you. Brian, your opportunity if you choose.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our next question. Let's talk a little bit about the district budget. Brian, you'll be first with this question. Do you believe that the current school district budget is the right size to meet the needs of students and teachers?
Well, you know, I've looked at the budget. It's a large budget, approximately $550 million. So, you know, being on the outside and not being real close in the inner workings of it yet, it's kind of hard to answer that question. It certainly sounds like it by the large nature of the size, 550 million. You got to, you know, you wonder where all that money goes. And that has been a common question as I've been out in the community talking with people, is like, where does all the money go? Sometimes is it a perception, a reality thing? You know, a lot of people believe that, hey, it's just spent unwisely. So it's an important role. It's important that we make sure that those taxpayer dollars are used efficiently and effectively. If for any reason that the opportunity was presented itself to have to work with the legislature, I personally know some state representatives, Peggy Scott, Abigail Whalen, state senators, Michelle Benson, and Jim Abler, so I could leverage that as well.
Thank you for your answer. Anna, same question to you now. Do you believe that the current school district budget is the right size to meet the needs of teachers and students?
This year, for fiscal 18, if you take a look at the budget that was approved for fiscal 18, $502.5 million is the operating budget. That gives us an adjusted operating surplus of about $4 million. So it looks like for this year, we're doing okay. I think the problem with our state budget is that we get about 70% of our operating funds from the general fund. The problem with the general fund is that it's not indexed for inflation. So in other words, every time we get a 1% or 2% or 3% increase from the legislature, we're not taking into account how much inflation has to come out of that first. So a 1% increase when inflation for this district went up 2% does not do us any favors in budgeting for the future. So I don't think that this is the right number. I think we need a stronger success story with the legislature, and I'm prepared to do that.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time. Brian, you'd be first.
Yeah, it's again balancing the dollars we have. So it's ever expanding budgets. You know, that makes it tough. You know, taxpayers are already concerned about, you know, is the money used wisely? So I would look, you know, I would wonder. To me, the 550 million seems adequate. You know, with what I know today. Anyways.
Thank you for your answer. Anna, same rebuttal time.
Yeah, I'll just add that because it is just about to the point of closing all of the gaps that we have right now, this is the reason why I'm a strong supporter of the referendum and the $226 per fee per student that's at hand. It will do a great deal to getting rid of our portable classrooms and reducing class sizes and supporting teachers.
Thank you for your answer. Well, let's go in and talk about the levy next then, since you brought it up.
Great.
You'll be first on this one, Anna. Just do you support, which we already heard, the operating levy and the bond referendum questions that the current school board has put on the ballot for this fall?
Absolutely. Anoka-Hennepin has 62 portable classrooms within the school district. I believe that's a huge safety concern. Also, the average class size for the Anoka-Hennepin High School is about 40 students. The only way to reduce those class sizes and get rid of those portable classrooms is to pass this levy, pass this referendum, so that we can build more schools and add more teachers to our teaching staff. Strong supporter. I think it's worth the investment for our kids. And for a $200,000 household, it comes out to about $11 a month, and so I think that's an investment that our kids are worth.
Thank you for your answer. Brian, same question to you now. Do you support the operating levy and the bond referendum questions that the current school board has put on the ballot for this fall?
Yes, I do support those as well. For a lot of the same reasons Anna just mentioned. It's a good time to make this an investment. These buildings, on average, are over 50 years old. It's time to update the media centers and the science labs and things of that nature. I believe even some weight room facilities are also slated. As Anna mentioned, the portables would be removed and replaced with permanent structures. This would also help with safety and security. You know, the kids as they pass back and forth in some situations across parking lots and things of that nature at certain high schools, that, hey, that's a safety thing. We can't have strangers blending in and mixing into the schools. So yeah, I would support that. It's also, keep in mind, a historically low interest rate environment. As I've been talking to people, hey, these things aren't going to get any cheaper. If you just kick the can down the road, it's just going to, the cost would grow in the future.
Thank you both for your answer. You agreed pretty much on that one, but I'll give you the opportunity if anyone needed rebuttal time or extra time. Anna, you be first.
I would just say check out the Fit for the Future website. You can use the tax calculator there if you want to figure out what the personal fee will be for your house, your home, but get informed and vote.
Thank you. And Brian, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think she said it fine. So yeah, get out and vote, and chance to support it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next question. Let's talk a little bit about student achievement, student performance. Brian, you'll be first on this question. Do you have any policy ideas or other types of suggestions that you would bring if you were elected to the school board to help close the persistent achievement gap that a lot of districts in Minnesota see and just improve overall test scores for Anoka-Hennepin? Brian, you're up first.
Yeah, I've seen the importance of a good education firsthand, as both of my sons, as I previously mentioned, have gone through the district and how well it's prepared them for college. I'd like to continue to see proficiency in the reading and math scores. How I would go about doing this, hey, we live in a world of big data today. We got to evaluate the data, and I believe the district has ways of collecting that data. So I would evaluate the data. I would look to fill those holes. I believe the teachers may currently do this in some aspects, so our kids do meet our educational standards that the Minnesota Department of Education has laid out before us. Maybe the teachers could collaborate one time a week over some of that data, perform kind of an intervention group. Hey, I need to go work with the students here. These students get it, these students don't, that type of thing. And hey, if I was elected to the board, I would, I'd learn more about the higher, so, all right.
Thank you for your answer. And Anna, same question to you now. Do you have policy ideas or other suggestions you would bring to the board if you were elected to help close the achievement gap and improve overall test scores?
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of points that would be good to clarify in your question to begin with. So I think there's a difference between an achievement gap and test scores, and I would make the point that test scores do not necessarily equate learning. I am concerned with the amount of testing, both based from the curriculum as well as state standards that happens in our school district. And then if you want to add something on top of that, look at ACT scores. I would like to examine which of those metrics we find most valuable before we start to address the gap in any one of those sets of numbers. I will say that we have certain high schools that have more needs than others, and so for those areas, I'm a strong supporter of looking at programs like the Pathways program, STEM programming, STEAM programming, and the amount of PSEO or AP credits that are eligible at some of those high schools is a way to attract new and young families to growing districts.
Thank you for your answer. Opportunity for rebuttal time. Brian, you would be first.
No, thank you.
And Anna, did you have anything else to add?
I'll just also add with my note about some of those test scores. It is interesting that Anoka-Hennepin and Roseville are two of the only school districts in the state that are on a trimester system. The rest of the state operates under regular semesters. So if you have a kid that took math in the first trimester, testing happens in the second trimester, and they're not taking it again till the third, that test score is going to reflect that. So there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration when we make statements like that.
Thank you very much for your answer. Let's move on to our next question. I heard a little bit earlier about school safety, and especially when you're talking about the portables. But are there steps that you'd like to see the district take, maybe away from just talking about the portables and removing those? Are there steps you'd like to see the district take in order to improve school safety across the district? This is something that I know is mindful for every parent as they send their kid to school. Anna, you're first on this question.
Sure, thank you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I believe every student deserves to feel safe, respected, and welcome at school. I'm not sure that we have enough in place right now where that's the situation. In fact, I've heard from several communities that, in fact, that's not the case. What I think that we need to do is make a greater effort around outreach. As our school district becomes more diverse, I think we are going to have to educate our students about different social and economic groups of people so that we understand each other better and we have less of a situation for harassment and bullying and things of that nature. And I think that in order to do that, the school board is going to need to do some direct outreach to those vulnerable communities. Brian and I sitting up here as Caucasian individuals probably don't know all of the issues at hand that these students are dealing with. And I think that outreach to a lot of different cultural communities will be very important. I also think it makes a difference when you look at things like supporting the victim and educating bullies about, again, those differences, you begin to make some progress.
Thank you for your answer. Brian, same question to you now. Are there steps you would like to see the district take in order to improve school safety in all schools?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to just, basic fundamentals of, respecting your peers through acts of kindness and respect. Yeah, the safety issue as far as, in regards to the bullying and stuff like that, hey, there's zero tolerance for bullying. We don't have any place for that. There does seem to be some appropriate training in place, from what I understand, for the staff and the teachers to learn about bullying and how to treat each other with respect. The thing, a lot of things as far as equality and all that, sure, that's important. And again, that kind of ties into how we kind of treat one another. Sometimes, to me, that stuff isn't really the appropriate place, isn't in the classroom. It's important as a community, maybe taught at home and things of that nature, but our teachers right now have a lot on their plates. To ask them to do one more thing seems like it would be kind of a stretch for them.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time. Anna, you're up first.
I guess I would say that absolutely teachers have a responsibility in addition to parents, and I think a willingness to teach kids that they ought to treat others how they want to be treated themselves. It's not that difficult, and I expect it in the classroom.
Thank you. And Brian, you're up too.
Yeah, right. I would agree. Yeah, we all, it's just one more thing that the teachers have to be responsible for. And sure, if they see bullying or what have you, they should appropriately address that.
Thank you for your answer. Let's move on to the next question. Brian, you'll be first on this question. How will you work to serve all residents in the district? Not just those with children, not just those who vote for you, but every resident. And I guess I should clarify, in District 4 for you folks.
Sure.
How would you work to serve all of them?
Sure. As I've been outdoor knocking, there are some elderly people within our community. So, hey, $11 a month may not sound like much to you or I or any of us who are working. So I would look to serve those by making sure that the taxpayer dollars are used efficiently and effectively. Hey, a lot of things come up before the school board, so I'd carefully review and understand the impacts of all new policies that come before the board. Make sure that, hey, is this applicable or is it not applicable? And then, hey, one of the most important things too is that, hey, providing kind of back to the safe and secure schools, or make sure the schools are updated with proper technology for those students or for those families that do have students in the schools. Want to make sure our schools are up to date.
Thank you for your answer. Anna, same question to you. How will you work to serve all residents in District 4, not just those with children and not just those who vote for you?
Sure, absolutely. I think that community input is extremely important, and if elected, I'd like to have several means to be available to my constituents. Of course, there's always the option to email or give me a call, but one of the things I've been priding myself on is that I'm an accessible parent and an accessible person and a reasonable listener. So I'd like to have community meetings where I can sit down and listen to constituents and hear what they have to say. I'd also like to support processes for community input on the board if elected. So what you saw somewhat for Fit for the Future, where we took public input before coming out with a proposed solution, I think you're going to need something like that, and probably even a bit stronger. Regardless of the referendum, the district is going to look at redistricting, and I think a process for community input is going to be extremely important.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time now. Brian, you be first.
The redistricting, that's a touchy subject for all involved, but yeah, they have said that whether the bond and referendum passes or not, there could be some level of redistricting.
And Anna, your opportunity?
Yes, there will be. So yeah, having community input is going to be huge. And I guess I would just add that you need to be mindful about when you have those meetings, having them after school when parents maybe don't have daycare options available. You need to think creatively about how you can get input from all sorts of people.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the last question that I have for you tonight. How, as a school board member, would you work to make school feel welcoming to everyone who comes into the building, regardless of race, religion, socioeconomic class, political leanings, sexual orientation? How do you feel like, and maybe even farther, what do you feel like is the role of the school board in doing that and in making all the school buildings feel welcome for all? Anna, you'll be up first with this question.
Sure. Again, knowing that all students deserve to feel safe, respected, and welcome in school. And I really think that while maybe it sounds cheesy, I think that we need to go so far as having maybe a poster, statements, starting each class off with a statement about how we welcome all students regardless of all of the factors you just listed off there. I think there are certain groups that maybe don't feel that way, and I think it's important to put it out there right in front of everyone that we welcome everybody, we will respect everybody, and we will treat others how we want to be treated, regardless of where they're coming from.
Thank you for your answer. Brian, same question to you now. In what ways should the school board help, or in what way is it the school board's role to make sure that buildings throughout the district are welcoming to all individuals?
Yeah, sure. That's one of the most important things. All of our students need to feel welcomed and accepted within their schools. So, the board provides an oversight role, and so it can direct policy and guidance and help the district come up with specific policies and what have you to make sure that happens. Hey, it is a touchy subject, right? Right now there's some important issues out there, but like you said, all students. So some students who may non-conform or, in this regarding the transgender issue, hey, there's other students that's going to impact where they want their privacy respected. So, the current position, how the board handles that, to me, makes some sense where you'd handle that on a case-by-case basis and set up an area of the building where any student can go to for that respect of that privacy. So that includes all students. So, that's important. Hey, all students we're all created equal. So.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time now.
Yeah.
Anna, you'd be first.
I'll just say that I want a policy that says that we welcome everyone, regardless of the community that you come from. I would argue that a case-by-case basis is not a good way to do business. In fact, the business community doesn't operate investments on a case-by-case basis. That's risky. So for vulnerable students, if they want to know if they're going to be welcome at school today, understanding how they're going to be treated and knowing that that's just on a one-time approach, that's not a good way to do business, and it's not a good way to treat our kids.
Brian, I'll give you some extra time as well.
The flip side, I guess I don't understand that really, because the policy currently is there to do that. Again, if you're the student that's not struggling with your identity, and you have what you believe the opposite gender coming into your area, hey, that's not respecting that person. So, I guess I'm a little confused by that, but so, hey, it's important. We're all created equal. God created us all, so I view us all as equal.
Thank you. All right, we're going to leave that at that. Unless, do you guys want to go one more round? There was some things said. We can go one more round if you want, or if you feel like we've exhausted the question.
I think we've both made our point.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, let's move on to your closing statements, and that's where we're going to finish off tonight. Brian, you'll be first with your closing statement.
Great. Hey, I want to thank North Metro TV for hosting this debate this evening. Overall, I'd like to highlight a couple things about my candidacy. I'm a conservative candidate with a strong financial background, and I have a lot of community experience. Number one, I'm a conservative candidate who believes a solid academic core is the key to success. I believe that the classroom is not the right platform for political issues to be addressed. My financial background allows me the ability to maximize the use of taxpayer dollars. You can check out my website at www.brianherda.wordpress.com. Yes, I have local support. I have door knocked in all 5 of my communities and over Ham Lake. Now then, Oak Grove and Ramsey. If you live in one of these communities, please come out and vote on Tuesday, November 7th for Brian Herda.
Thank you for your closing statement. Anna, you're up next for your closing statement.
Sure. I just want to leave folks with the fact that I am an invested parent in this district. My kids are going to be in this district for the next 15 to 20 years, so I care deeply about the success of the Anoka-Hennepin schools. I'm a pretty common sense individual, and I sincerely want to work on behalf of parents and not parties. I'm not endorsed or recommended by either party, and that's on purpose. I'm running because I believe in the quality of the Anoka-Hennepin school district, and because I want to continue to help our kids be set up for success. I'm not running on a single issue. I'm running because I want to be part of our kids' education.
Thank you, and thank you both for taking some time out of your schedules to come in and share your views with me and with the viewers as well. So thank you for taking the time this evening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I want to remind you, you can always head to northmetrotv.com for complete local decision coverage. It's all in there for you. If you missed a portion of this debate, you can find a link on there to watch it. You can also read candidate biographies for candidates in several different races across the North Metro area, as well as see other debates and candidate interviews on there as well. I've been your moderator, Ben Hale. Thank you for watching.